Well, without getting political, Donald Trump and I wrote 2 books together because we're concerned about the lack of financial education in our school systems. So you think about the source of it. If there's no financial education in our school systems, then the people running our government are idiots.
Gee, I wonder.
Like people say, well, the Federal Reserve Bank has either 400 or 4,000 PhDs. My mind goes, that's 4,000 or 4,000, like my poor dads. They're academic geniuses who know jack about money. And they're killing us. So when I see that, and then you have, my generation was the first baby boom generation.
The cost of financial illiteracy. Kiyosaki discusses the lack of financial education in schools and its impact on government inefficiency. Kiyosaki's critique of financial illiteracy in schools highlights a systemic flaw. Imagine if we replaced outdated curriculums with practical lessons on saving, investing, and managing money. The ripple effect could transform how future leaders approach economics. Financial literacy is not just a skill, it's a necessity in today's world, where the cost of ignorance is far greater than ever before.
Was the first generation without a defined benefit pension plan. Defined benefit was like, when my father generation, they worked for Ford or General Motors, and they had a pension for life. But in 1974, that changed. So they shifted to the 401k and IRA, RRSP in Canada, 401k in Japan. So the boomer generation is kind of hanging out there on a string right now. And now we're starting to retire. So that was 74 to now, and how many years that is. But the boomer generation had the easiest time in all history. The economy boomed.
Yeah.
But now it's about to shift, and I'm afraid the boomer generation might be, out of luck.
The shift from pensions to 401ks. Kiyosaki explains the shift from pensions to 401ks and its implications for retirement security. The transition from pensions to 401ks has left many unprepared for retirement. While pensions guarantee income, 401ks transfer risk to individuals. This shift demands a deeper understanding of how to grow and protect retirement funds. Imagine how empowering it would be if financial planning were taught in schools, equipping people with the tools to navigate this complex landscape from an early age.
One of the things that I feel like isn't really getting talked about is that some people are talking about our demographics shifting, but we do have this pending sort of financial catastrophe, which is where it seems like worldwide, we've never been in a place where there's so few workers, young people, for so many old people.
Yeah.
How do you think about what that means for all of us?
Well, that's kind of my shared concern. I don't know what's going to happen, but something has to happen. That old saying is, how'd you go bankrupt? Slowly and then fast. Well, the speed's about to go fast right now, all over the world. You look at Japan. When I was a kid, they were the miracle of Japan. Well, now their yen is worth nothing. And, Japanese aren't the brightest when it comes to money. I'm Japanese, I'd say that. 4th generation American Japanese. They print more money than we do. So, that's what I'm saying. So if our school systems teach us nothing about money, then we have idiots running the show.
What is the most important basic fact of, financial literacy that people don't know or don't understand at all? Like, if there's a top confusion or ignorance, what would that be, and help our viewers sort of understand?
Well, that's all I did in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My poor dad was the head of education, the state of Hawaii, PhD. He did studies at Stanford, Northwestern, University of Chicago. And he was poor as a church mouse, but he held up his PhD. I said, yeah, that and $25 will buy you a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? What good is a PhD? And they get so many people get so attached to a stupid piece of paper. And my rich dad was my best friend's father, never had an education. And he always said, my banker has never asked me for my report card yet. So what does your banker want to see? So these idiot left-wing academic types that go, I went to Stanford, and my banker wants to see my financial statement. My poor dad had no idea what a financial statement is. Most academics have no idea. They don't have financial statements. But to be a capitalist, I run on my financial statement. Because 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, and the US dollar became debt. So today, we stop borrowing money, the economy collapses because it's debt. So when this Dave Ramsey is kind of a friend of mine, but we argue with different points of view. He says live debt-free. I said, if we live debt-free, the economy would collapse. Oh, no, it wouldn't. Well, if you study macroeconomics, if we don't borrow, money is created by borrowing money, not working for it anymore. So if you can understand that macro concept, and then today America is now printing, this is 2024, we just started printing $1 trillion every 90 days to keep this economy floating.
Strategic debt for wealth building. Kiyosaki critiques the debt-free philosophy, explaining how borrowing strategically can create wealth. Kiyosaki challenges the conventional wisdom of living debt-free. Strategic debt, when used for assets like real estate or business investments, can unlock wealth-building opportunities. However, the key is understanding the difference between good and bad debt. By leveraging good debt, individuals can create streams of income and build financial independence. It's not about avoiding debt altogether, but using it as a tool to grow wealth responsibly.
Now, when they stop, that's like Noah's Ark going down, up the mountain.
I first started getting into these kinds of issues about 15 years ago, because the financial crisis of 2008 happened, and I was a young dad, and I had my first mortgage, and I suddenly, for the first time in my life, was thinking about interest rates, which no one had told me about or talked about. It wasn't a thing that you encountered in your education. We're now to a place where interest rates have gone up, but in the bigger sweep of recent American history, they're still pretty low. They're lower than my parents had to pay with their first house, where like interest rates are 20%. How do you think about sort of that landscape, the landscape for interest rates and home ownership?
Well, I'm kind of on all coins have three sides: heads, tails, and the edge. So you have Republicans, Democrat, but I stand on the edge, look at both sides. And you have right and left and all this stuff. So when I look at money, you have to see what's invisible. You have to see the other side. And so when the 2008 market hit, like I said, money was dead. What the banks were doing was they were borrowing money and then packaging debt as an asset so they could borrow more money. They're called derivatives. And the average American, since they're financially illiterate, they don't speak the language of money. When I speak a derivative, that's like you get an orange, you cut it, you squeeze it. The orange juice is a derivative of the orange. So what a derivative is in 2008 was a derivative of debt made into bigger debt. So the debt accelerated. So Warren Buffett is called derivatives, weapons of mass financial destruction. So I'm sitting there like this, watching it. 2008 comes, it blew. Wow. Thank you, God. Thank you. Because when you see the other side, I made more money in the crash than I did when it was going up. So the average person, because they don't have financial literacy, definition of words, and they're taught to just work for money, they don't see the other side. They cannot see what they cannot see. So when the markets crashed in 2008, I borrowed $300 million.
Opportunities in financial crises. Kiyosaki explains how the 2008 financial crisis demonstrated the dangers of financial illiteracy and the power of seizing opportunities during downturns. Kiyosaki's ability to turn the 2008 crisis into a wealth-building opportunity speaks volumes about the importance of financial literacy. While many panicked, he leveraged his understanding of assets and liabilities to buy undervalued real estate. This highlights a critical mindset shift. Instead of fearing downturns, view them as opportunities to invest wisely. Success in such moments hinges on preparation and knowledge, which is why understanding the market is vital.
And I bought the best real estate in the world for pennies on a dollar. That's how you get rich. Not by working hard and putting in a stupid 401k full of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. Those are for the peasants. Jeez. You know what I mean? Well, that's what I tell the kids. Go to school, get a job, work hard, and put your money in a 401k or an IRA full of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. I don't touch that garbage. It's trash. But you don't know if you don't know, right?
Well, so this is one of the things in your book, right? It's the concept of investing in assets and understanding the difference between an asset and liability.
Definition.
So, for the financially yet to be literate, what are those concepts and why are they so important?
Again, all coins have three sides: heads, tails, and the edge. That's the other side. So for there to be an asset, there has to be a liability, by definition. If you understand that one, you'll say, okay, so here's the asset. What's the liability?
Give me an example.
Well, I wouldn't touch a mutual fund. You know, that's toxic. But the liability is the Black Rocks or the fund managers who package that stuff. All coins have three sides. I'm on the other side. I pack. That's why Buffett called, derivatives weapons of mass financial destruction. I package that debt. And that's how I make my money. So I know what those guys who are like BlackRock and all these guys, the mutual fund, the Vanguard, they're just packaging garbage and selling it. I wouldn't touch it.
Mastering cash flow. Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of understanding cash flow and distinguishing between assets and liabilities. Understanding cash flow is a cornerstone of financial success. Kiyosaki's point about assets versus liabilities underscores why so many struggle financially, because they don't track where their money is going. An asset puts money in your pocket, while a liability takes it out. Mastering this distinction can help individuals break free from the paycheck to paycheck cycle and start building sustainable wealth. The first step, assess your financial statements with a critical eye.
What should the average person do with their savings right now from your perspective? Like in broad strokes, not some particular asset class or something, but what like if I have savings that I can put somewhere, what's a good strategy for me?
Well, you better study. A village idiot and their money are soon gone. They all disappear. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's the #1 book in the world for 27 years. And I flunked out of school because I can't write. And the publishers of New York, like Simon & Schuster, they all turned Rich Dad, Poor Dad down. They said, because they're like my poor dad, these academics are the worst people on planet Earth. Because they have this stupid piece of paper that says, you're smarter than that guy over there. I used to say, my poor dad, the piece of paper. Show me your financials. Oh, I got my PhD. If you can understand the insanity of that somebody actually thinking their PhD makes them smarter than the village idiot out there. If you can understand that insanity. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with this whole thing. But that's why Trump and I are good friends, because we sit there and laugh and chuckle. When he was debating Hillary, that criminal, the violent, Jesus Christ. Well, they are. They are.
You're not wrong.
Well, when Hillary says, and he doesn't pay any taxes, and Trump says, that means I'm smart.
Rethinking traditional financial advice. Kiyosaki argues that conventional financial advice, like saving money or buying a home, often benefits institutions more than individuals. Kiyosaki flips traditional financial advice on its head. Saving money and buying a home, while seemingly smart, often funnel wealth to banks and lenders. Instead, he advocates for strategies that prioritize creating income-generating assets. This doesn't mean rejecting traditional advice outright, but understanding the hidden incentives behind it. Always ask yourself, who benefits most from my financial decisions, me or someone else?
So talk about the emotional control that people need to have to be able to do this kind of thing.
Very good question. The human body is made up of 4 different types. You have the mind, you have the body. So there's mental intelligence, physical intelligence, there's spiritual intelligence, and emotional intelligence, EQ. And the average person has no EQ, very low spiritual intelligence.
The role of emotional intelligence. Kiyosaki discusses the role of emotional intelligence, EQ, in achieving financial success. Kiyosaki's focus on emotional intelligence is a game changer for financial success. Making smart financial decisions isn't just about logic, it's about controlling emotions like fear and greed. For instance, resisting the urge to panic sell during market dips can save you from significant losses. Developing EQ not only helps in managing investments, but also fosters resilience in the face of financial challenges.
There is a resentment in academia towards
The rich.
the rich, but also there's a kind of, and this goes back a long time. There's a sort of like the merchant class has always been reviled by
Yes,
the
you
elite.
got it. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? It seems almost like a deeply human quality, because it's not just here in America, it's throughout history.
Well, we have different values, you know what I mean? We all have different values. So for the academic types who are generally, in school, I used to call them nerds. I was a surfer,
Hey, Robert, I was a nerd. Back
Okay.
off.
The surfers were cool, I was flunking out of school, but we were cool. And they're going, well, I'm going to go to good school. I said, good, I'm going to be surfing. It's just values. I still got into Naval Academy. I'm not stupid, but I'm also not that naive. So to go to military school, you have to be mental, emotional, physical, spiritual.
In America, we lead the world in fatherlessness. 1 in 4
What?
in fatherlessness.
Yes.
1 in
Thank you
4
for saying that.
students. 1 in 4 kids are living in a home without a biological step or adoptive father. You had 2 dads. You had your biological dad, poor dad with his PhD, and rich dad,
Yes.
a mentor, friend. So you were rich. You were doubly rich on that
Yes.
score.
Thank you.
What do you say?
But that's why your program is perfect name.
It's a big part of why we do it.
Yes. Fathers are not carrying the load today. I meet so many young women today who say, I can't find a man. They're TikTok dancers now.
You're boomering it up here, Robert.
Marines have an attitude problem.
But what is your advice for young men who don't have the benefit of having a dad to impart these things? Obviously you're out there, you've been out there for a long time preaching this gospel. But if I'm a young man and I'm stuck,
That's a great question.
what should my body do first so that my mind
That's
can...
a very good question. Because when I realized, this is what happened. I grew up in Hawaii. My father's head of education. On one side of the street is schools, the elementary school for labor union kids. It was called Union School. So the kids that went there were union members. Their fathers were either Portuguese, Filipino, Chinese, Korean, like that. Directly, less than 20 yards across the street was Riverside School, the school for the rich kids. So their fathers owned the plantations that the union kids worked for. I talk about a psycho farm. I'm going. So for some reason, my father didn't cheat, but I got into the rich kids' school. So I'm sitting there for the first time, 9 years old, going, how come they're poor and we're rich? These guys are, what's the difference? That was the question.
Hands-on financial education. Kiyosaki critiques how schools teach abstract concepts but fail to provide practical financial skills, emphasizing the importance of hands-on learning. Kiyosaki's critique of traditional education is spot on. Schools often prioritize theory over practical skills, leaving students ill-equipped to handle real-world financial challenges. Imagine how transformative it would be if students learned to read financial statements or manage cash flow alongside basic math. Practical hands-on learning not only engages the mind, but also builds confidence in navigating the financial landscape.
It's a hard environment to try to understand which assets to buy. So is there a wit and how to get your first step on the ladder? Like, I think it's easy for people to think about, well, I'm going to get a job. And I'm going to enter this field. I'm going to get whatever entry level opportunity and work my way up. What's the equivalent in the asset world for that first rung of the ladder?
Well, again, it's financial literacy. It's simply the definition. An asset puts money in your pocket, whether you work or not.
Assets versus liabilities. Kiyosaki shares his belief that creating assets is the key to financial freedom, contrasting it with the liabilities many people mistake for assets. Kiyosaki highlights a critical misunderstanding: not everything you own is an asset. For example, a car or home may seem like assets but often drain more money than they bring in. True assets generate cash flow and grow in value over time. By focusing on creating or acquiring these types of assets, anyone can build a foundation for lasting financial freedom.
The reason I know that because I was a Marine, went to Vietnam twice, is being mentally intelligent, physically, spiritually, emotionally. When you see your friends dying, it's really, really imperative you remain stoic, and you keep killing the other guy. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's hard stuff. Most people don't know what that's about.
No. And then when I came back from Vietnam the second time in '72, I got hit by a rotten egg and spit on by all these hippies from Woodstock, And today I see them around. I see them in politics today. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they're all those hippies out there spitting on me. I'm only kidding,
I don't think you're kidding.
No.
I think that's not a...
No, I see. My job, I'm boomer. My question I ask a lot of guys my age is, and what did you do during Vietnam? Well, I had a student from it. Oh, okay, I know who you are now. Or I was in Canada. I said, oh, good. Dodged it.
So do we have to be the absolute killers to be able to weather the financial storms?
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, help me navigate.
I said there's four intelligences: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical.
Psychological resilience in finance. Kiyosaki explains the psychological resilience required for financial success, using examples of emotional intelligence in high-pressure situations. Psychological resilience or emotional intelligence is the unsung hero of financial success. Kiyosaki's examples of remaining calm under pressure remind us that mastering our emotions can prevent costly mistakes. Whether it's holding steady during market volatility or making bold decisions in a downturn, emotional intelligence gives you the edge to thrive in any financial climate.
You look at a guy like Tiger Woods. He's got mental, emotional, physical, spiritual lined up. That putt, let's say he's putting 10 feet to win $1 million. It's mental, spiritual. It's going to, and that's why Maria Montessori school system says, what the hand does, the mind remembers. It's physical intelligence that's more important than mental intelligence.
My son spent most of his K through 12 in Montessori style schools, and I'm a big fan. But I hadn't heard that phrase. That's a really powerful phrase. What the hand does, the mind remembers. I feel like so much of our education system is purely abstract and not physical. It's the exact opposite.
It's emotional. They punish you for making mistakes. How stupid is that? So you have so many people that say, but what if I make a mistake? I said, you'll get smarter. You know, a baby doesn't learn to walk unless it falls down. But let's say the baby stands up, falls down, teacher goes, you stupid, stupid kid, you can't walk, you can't walk. They'll never walk. So when I meet people who are the academic types of that piece of paper that means nothing, most of them are so terrified of making mistakes. I said, what you do is so risky. Well, risk involves mental, emotional, spiritual, physical.
Learning from failure. Kiyosaki reflects on how mistakes and failures are critical learning tools that can accelerate personal and financial growth. Kiyosaki's embrace of failure as a learning tool challenges a key cultural stigma. Mistakes are often seen as setbacks, but they're stepping stones to success. Every failure provides valuable insights, making you more prepared for future challenges. The key takeaway here: don't fear failure. Use it to fuel your growth and refine your strategy.
There is a resentment in academia towards the rich, but also there's a kind of, and this goes back a long time. There's a sort of like the merchant class has always been reviled.
Yes,
idea.
because, yeah.
Why do you think that is? It seems almost like a deeply human quality, because it's not just here in America, it's throughout history.
Well, we have different values. You know? We all have different values. So for the academic types who are generally, you know, in school, I used to call them nerds. I was a surfer. You know.
Hey, Robert, I was a nerd. Back off.
The surfers were cool, you know. I was flunking out of school, but we were cool. And they said, they're going, well, I'm going to go to good school. I said, good, I'm going to be surfing. It's just values. I still got into Naval Academy. I'm not stupid, but I'm also not that naive. So to go to military school, you have to be mental, emotional, physical, spiritual.
The necessity of financial literacy. Kiyosaki concludes with the idea that financial literacy and smart decision-making are essential to thriving in any economy. Kiyosaki's message is clear. Financial literacy is not a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world of economic uncertainty, those who invest in their financial education will always have the upper hand. Whether it's creating assets, managing debt, or mastering emotional intelligence, the tools to succeed are within your reach. The first step is deciding to take control of your financial future today. Thank you for watching Nova Society. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.